Plaintiff Nyakabi Smith says the defendant was her first love, and she got pregnant with his child at age 17. Nyakabi claims after she moved in with the defendant, he became physically abusive, but she was too afraid to have him arrested. Nyakabi eventually broke up with the defendant, and she's suing him today for child support. Defendant Pasha Ali says he never wanted to marry Nyakabi because he was cheating throughout their relationship and he wasn't ready to settle down. Pasha insists he was never abusive to Nyakabi, and he says he has been paying child support for his son. He's countersuing for emotional distress.
Start with you.
I met Pasha at the age of 15. He was about 19 years old. We met at the roller skating ring, rolling around, doing what we do. We dated for some months before we got into a real serious relationship. And Pasha was the love of my life, my first love. I got pregnant about a couple months later. I had my son at the age of 17 years old. I proposed to Pasha after we had our son due to my grandfather is a pastor and he was not happy about, having a baby, not being married. It was some bad choices that I made in life at the time.
You proposed marriage to him?
Yes.
What did he say?
He said no, he was not ready for that. So we went on.
Just ready for the baby?
Yes.
Well, he might not have been ready for that. You're suing him for child support.
Yes, exactly.
Right, go ahead.
We moved in together early 2000, and we moved into his mother's home. Things were great for a couple of months until he became physically and mentally abusive to me. Pasha has kicked me. He has spit in my face.
It's not true,
He
Your
has
Honor.
called me several names, Your Honor.
Not true, Your Honor.
And I dealt with it for a while. We were together
How
for
long?
8 years.
How often would he do those things?
Every other week.
Twice a month.
Twice a month.
He would be physically and or verbally
Abusive to me,
for
yes.
8 years?
For about 8 years.
Did you
yes.
ever prosecute him for anything?
I would call the police,
Okay.
and when they would get there, I would back down when I would see that certain face.
Sure.
And when his mother was there on several occasions, she would say, that's embarrassing to me because the type of work she does.
Okay. So from 2000 to 2008?
It was from 2000 until about 2004.
All right, you all broke up then?
Yes.
All right. You've been broken up since that time?
Yes, we have.
Okay, sir, let me hear some background from you before we get to the child support.
First off, I'd like to say I love my son. I'm tremendously involved in my son's life, and I take no greater joy than being a father. I'm very proud to be his father. I've known Kobe for about 15 years. We met at the skating ring. It was pretty good in the beginning, but around time of '97, I ended up going to jail on some bad things, some bad choices that I made. And at that time when I was in jail, she told me that she was pregnant. I asked her to get an abortion because I was not ready at the time to have a child. When I met her, I told her, it was just a theory that I had, like, I'm not gonna get married until a woman asks me to marry her. And my thing about marriage is I wasn't ready to get married because I was cheating. I do want to get married one time in my life, but my thing about marriage is
You weren't ready for marriage.
I wasn't ready for marriage.
And I'm glad you told her that.
And I believe that if I do get married, I don't want to cheat on my wife. I want to stay because I believe the thing in God that you don't cross that line with God. You don't cheat.
I'm with you on that. If you didn't want to get married, you did the right thing. But I want to hear about this abuse she's alleging.
Sir, that's not true. I'm not an abusive person. Where's the evidence? Where's
Your Honor?
Did she come? Did the police come by often?
She called the police numerous of times when we got into arguments. And she would lie and tell the police I hit her. But if I hit her, I would go to jail, be arrested and convicted of hitting her. And
Your
there would
Honor?
be
Yeah,
pictures.
ma'am, and it just sounds odd that if this man beat you at least a couple of times a month, at no point did you say, okay, it's time to press charges.
I was scared, Your Honor. I was in love.
Let's move on to the child support.
Back in late 2004, we went to court. Pasha took me to court and he took my son away from me, allegedly saying that I was on several drugs.
Did the court agree?
everything came out negative.
So let's get to the child support.
Then a couple months later, me and Pasha went to court about child support because he was not taking care of his son right. The judge ordered him to pay $254 a month, and it's due at the first of the month. Pasha has not paid child support in a while.
It's not true.
In a while, as in how long?
In at least 5 to 6 years.
Give
He
me
just now
you
starting.
gotta be kidding.
He just. I have paperwork here stating where when they ordered it, and I have the
Give it to
itemize of what he has paid when the time
Sir?
when he started,
he
and just
say?
because he's
That's not
getting
true, Your Honor.
disability.
I pay child support. I pay, to see my son.
So you don't owe any?
No, I do. I do owe some child
Okay.
support, but a portion of that child support, I believe I did not owe.
Why?
Because I was disabled and I was getting aid from the county or the government for about 3 years at that time. And I have evidence to show.
What years were those?
From 2005 to 2008, sir.
Were you working full-time prior to that?
Before that, yes, I was.
No,
All
he
right.
was
Were you-
not, Your Honor.
Were you paying regularly then?
Yes, I was. I wouldn't say regularly, but I was paying. I was making payments because they was taking, they was taking my license away from me, so I had to make the payments to get my license back.
That's not the only reason you should make payments.
Exactly.
But I
Exactly.
shouldn't have
To be
the
able
kid to
to-
see my son either.
I agree.
I was paying child support for this whole child's life. Well, since he was about 5 or 6 years old, I've been paying child support.
Off and on, Your Honor. He does not pay himself. Only way he pays is if the government take it from him. He has a red flag up to his name. That's the only way he pays. But just going
Your
in
Honor, if
paying
they
on
go-
his
You have any
own,
other
he
children?
will not do
Yes,
that.
I have other children. I
How
have
many?
2 other children. I have 2 other children, sir.
How old are they?
5 and 4.
You pay child support for them?
No, I don't, sir. I take care of them kids.
Or they live with you?
No, I have them 4 days out the week, and she has some
So
3
you
days.
take part-time care of them?
Yes, I do, sir. Proudly.
Well, how proud are you about this 9,000?
How proud am I about the 9,000?
Yeah.
Well, sir, like I said, I feel like my son doesn't need welfare to be taken care of.
I'm sorry.
If that's the case,
He doesn't need money to be taken care of.
No, he needs money to be taken care
what are
of.
you
Cold
saying?
fed. I'm saying that she didn't have to get on welfare to support my child.
We're not talking about what she's doing. We're
Okay.
talking about your responsibility.
My
What part are you missing? You owe $9,000 in child support. Let's address that.
When,
So true,
out that
Mom.
$9,000, out that $9,000, $6,000 of that should be erased because I was.
Did you
on,
tell them?
Nope.
Yes, I did try to
That's
What
an
they
explain that to
say?
them.
up-to-date copy.
They told me to prove it to them, and so I have this evidence for
No,
it to prove
them.
it.
The child support. You went and provided the evidence to
Yes, I
them?
did, sir.
And what did they decide?
They decided I
That
still
you
had
still
the-
owe.
Oh,
Your Honor, Your Honor,
So
$9,100.
they
if I
ain't
say
buy
this,
that
though,
nonsense, did
I
they?
signed a stipulation. I signed a stipulation saying that I would pay the $254.
Have you?
Yes.
Show me the evidence.
That I've been paying the $254
Yes.
every month? No, I haven't been paying the $254.
I just asked you, had you? What are you trying to say? Because right now you're saying nothing other
I
than I'm
have
a
been paying
deadbeat,
child support.
lame loser. That's
Thank you,
all
Your
I'm
Honor.
hearing from you
Thank
so
you.
No,
far.
I'm not.
That's all I'm hearing.
I'm not, Your Honor, because I take real good care of my son.
Show me what evidence that you've taken care of your son.
What I'm saying is, Your Honor, is that $6,000 out that $10,000 or the $9,000.
And you said nobody believed that. They
Yes, sir.
threw that out.
because
so-
they saying that because I was on the welfare. I mean, I was on the welfare to work or the GA or whatever.
Sir, let me
that I
explain
still had
something
to pay
to you. Let me
the
explain
child support or
something to
whatever.
you.
Yes,
Because
sir.
you failed to go to work, that doesn't mean your
I didn't fail to go to
obligation.
work.
You
I
did.
wasn't-
Why didn't you?
I
You
wasn't
could have
able
paid
to go
then.
to work, sir.
Well, you should have paid if you
I
was
wasn't
going.
able to work and I wasn't able to go
Man,
to
that
work.
doesn't mean your obligation goes away. If you go and
right.
become a
You're
dope
right.
fiend, for example, like many people on SSIR, they are dope fiends and they qualify to get money from the federal government after they've injected dope in their veins for many years, and then they say, well, I can't pay no child support because I'm on SSI.
But I
You're
didn't
on
say I couldn't
SSI
pay
because
child
you
support, though.
volunteered to be a dope fiend.
And Your
So don't
Honor-
try to use that to excuse your obligation. $5,000 for the plaintiff.
Thank you,
Have a
Jesus.
good day. Your claim is dismissed.
That is good. I brought him to the right place. Yes, thank you, Jesus. My My son is disabled and he needs his father. He loves his father very much as he loves his mother. And when he comes and pick up his son, I don't want any problems for the sake of the child.
She's a very good woman. She's very good to my child and stuff. I have no problems with her, but she can't dictate when I can't see my son just on the simple fact that I owe child support. I'm very much involved
Pasha,
in
I
my
don't
son's
dictate
life.
when you can
I'm
see
very
your son and when you can't see your son.
I love my son tremendously.
You do bad
At home, I
things.
love you, Posh.